It's the CalebDMTG Show.
Baron Tolarian Archmage. 1 blue. When Baron Tolarian Archmage enters the battlefield, return up to one other target creature or planeswalker to its owner's hand. At the beginning of your end step, if a permanent was put into your hand from the battlefield, draw a card. It's a 2/2 legend. I think this card's sweet. So it's just a Mana War, right? You're just getting a Mana War effect. But I know I just said it's just a Mana War. It's not. This is no Mana War. This is not just a Mana War here. This can also bounce a Planeswalker, and it's got a draw engine kind of. So you can bounce your own things with Baron, and then that will trigger the end step draw. So if you use a Planeswalker that depletes itself, like Narset, you can bounce Narset to your hand at the beginning of your end step. The Baron will trigger. And then you can refresh your Narset, gets more cards that way. But yeah, being able to bounce your opponent's Planeswalker off of a Mana War seems really sweet to me. So probably not as versatile as Venser, but the fact that you can get value off of it is really exciting. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, so I already talked about Baron a lot. Someone in chat pointed out that it loops with Teferi as well, which is pretty vicious. Baron bounce Teferi, replay Teferi, Teferi bounce Baron. Note that Baron's end of turn trigger, I don't think that stacks. I think no matter how many of your permanents have been bounced, you're only drawing one card. You would have to somehow get like multiple Barons in play to get multiple triggers out of that, right? Like with the clone that's in standard. Still, it's kind of hard to bounce multiple of your things every turn. Yeah, sweet card. Versatile. Value engine attached. I'll be surprised if this doesn't seem some kind of play, right? Baron and Illurin. That's probably good in Illurin, huh? Cancel. 1 blue. Counter target spell. Yeah. Next card, Capture Sphere. 3 in a blue. 3 in a blue flash. Enchant creature. When a Capture Sphere enters the battlefield, tap enchanted creature. Doesn't untap. Oh man. I didn't want to zoom in. Doesn't untap during its controller's untap step. So at common, you're going to be able to answer your opponent's best card a lot of the time. I like having Capture Sphere around. I like having Cancel around too. You know, they're just like fine reprints that are costed perfectly for limited. And good to have in limited format. Discontinuity, 3 blue. As long as it's your turn, the spell costs 2 blue less to cast. So on your turn, it costs 1 in a blue. And then it ends the turn. What was the older version of this? Time Stop? It was like 4 blue. I feel like that card saw an incredibly small amount of play. Like almost none. 6 mana is a lot. I like that they made it a lot cheaper on your turn. Because if you're ending your own turn early, it's probably because you got some derfy bullshit you're working on. Just some absolute nonsense, right? Yeah. This is a card that I'm like... I mean, I guess I've cast similar effects. Is it not another Nexus? No, it's not. You can use it as like a take an extra turn thing by ending your opponent's turn on their upkeep. That's not the same thing as Nexus. One of the reasons that Nexus was so busted was that it shuffled back in. So the longer the game went, the smaller the library was, and the greater percentage of your library was Nexuses. So you could just like loop them over and over again. People weren't playing Nexus just to take a extra turn, right? That wasn't why that card was good. And they still get to untap? Yeah, that's true. And they get to untap if you're trying to like attack to kill them or whatever. If you end the turn on their upkeep, they've already untapped their blockers or what have you. Or they can have interaction up on your turn. So like 6 mana, and then in some situations, like all you're doing is like preventing them from drawing a card. And that's not worth 6 mana. It's not worth 6 mana and your own card to stop the opponent from drawing a card, right? The plural of Nexus is Nexi. Well, I mean, Nexus in this case, I'm not talking about some Nexus off in space or wherever Nexi appear. I'm talking about the specific card, right? Which is a proper noun. I think Nexuses is correct. I think you just always add an S on the end of a proper noun, like someone's name or card name. S or an ES. Enthralling Hold, 3 blue. Enchant creature. You can't choose an untapped creature as this spell's target as you cast it. You control enchanted creature. That's an interesting way to phrase all that, huh? So it's a mind control, but it's a mind control that can only target a tapped creature. They keep on monkeying with control magic effects, trying to find a spot where they're balanced for limited play. And I think this one's pretty good. So if you think about the curve of Magic, right, where you're going like 2-drop, then on turn 3 you attack with your 2-drop, play a 3-drop. Turn 4, attack with your 3-drop, play a 4-drop. Your opponent's best card in the curve out turns is going to be on the untapped one. So if you mind control their 4-drop there, now you've got their 4-drop, their best creature at the time. And then you also have a 4-drop that can probably block their 3-drop. So you're kind of like getting all this extra value. By only being able to enchant a tapped creature, it means that both players are in top deck mode. Like whatever best creature you're hitting, like your opponent's just like serving with all. If you get their best creatures, because both players are in top deck mode, right? It's because they're done curving out. And then you don't get a blocker for the turn. So this is a lot more balanced. It'll still be good. This is still a good card. You should still take it highly, because stealing the opponent's shit is awesome. It's value, right? You answered their thing and you got a thing. Value's always good. But this is pulling away from being like an absurd like auto pick bomb, like control magic effects usually are. And getting a little bit more reasonable. Still a fine first pick. Still value, like I said. Frantic Inventory, 1 in a blue, instant, draw a card, then draw cards equal to the number of cards named Frantic Inventory in your graveyard. Yeah, we had this card. Obviously, it's a accumulated knowledge version, but doesn't count the opponent's graveyards. We had functional accumulated knowledge, but it was a sorcery, right? And that ended up not doing anything. We'll see if making it instant speed does anything. I'm guessing no, but you know, we'll see. It's a fun card regardless. Now we just need intuition and standard, right? I'll go find 3 of these. Frost Breath, 2 in a blue. Tap up to 2 target creatures. Those creatures don't untap during the controller's next untap step. Sure. Another reprint, another fine card. Not an early pick. Certainly has its place. Ghostly Pilferer, and 2 mana for a 2/1. When it becomes untapped, you may pay 2 if you do draw a card. Whenever an opponent casts a spell from anywhere under their hand, draw a card. You can discard a card and it can't be blocked this turn. This card's good. Certainly you're always going to play this in limited, right? And just be able to churn through your deck with that filtering ability and the evasion. Quite nice. Since it's a spirit, my chat was all like, Caleb, what do you think of this spirit? And I think it is not good enough for Pioneer and Modern. You never really have the 2 to pay, right? And then it doesn't have evasion naturally. You have to like discard to it. It doesn't have flying. I'm not sure how to value the whenever an opponent casts a spell from anywhere other than their hand, draw a card. I'm not sure how to value that in like eternal formats, like how often that'll happen or matter. But an aggressive deck like Bant Spirits, I imagine it's not often enough to be relevant. So if this is played and constructed, I think it's going to be in standard, is what I'm getting at. Jessica Elder, 1 in a blue, 1/2, prowess. When it deals combat damage to a player, you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card. This is another reprint. Totally fine card, totally reasonable. Nice tempo play. Or tempo threat, rather. Obviously, you need ways to push it through and get your filter on. Keen Glide Master, 2 mana for 2/1. Target creature gains flying until end of turn. Oh, hey. Well, that's a way to push it through. I think this card's good in this format. The earlier we saw a white creature. There was a 2/3 that every time it attacked, you like generated a 1/1 flyer. It's a nice pairing with Glide Master too. Library Larcenist, 3 mana for 1/2. When it attacks, draw a card. Oh, sweet! Doesn't have to connect. So this is just always gonna give you your value. It reminds me of that black creature, the Thief, in a recent format. It's like 3 mana for a 2/2. When it attacked, you lost a life and drew a card. This is real similar. Lofty Denial, 1 in the blue. Counter target spell unless its controller pays 1. If you control a creature with flying, counter that spell unless its controller pays 4 instead. Nice. Sweet art. Sweet freaking art. That's a really cool image. Is this card good enough in limited? Well, Mana Leak's good enough in limited. But Force Spike, I would usually say, is not. And this is in between those. So the more consistently your opponent has to pay the 4, the better this gets, obviously. I wonder if you play this in the Flyers deck in Standard. That deck just like really wants to overload on Flyers though. For the what is it, Saphira, the 7/7, where you tap 4 Flyers and you put it into play. I'm not sure how many disruption spells you can afford to play in that deck. You want to play this in mono blue? Yeah, yeah, mono blue might just have enough Flyers naturally, huh? Especially 1 mana Flyers, so you're going 1 mana Flyer, turn 2 counterspell on the regular. I haven't played with or against mono blue in a long time, but it's certainly an archetype that's dear to my heart. Miscast, 1 blue, counter target instant or sorcery spell unless its controller pays 3. So this joins like Flusterstorm and Red Elemental Blast and the like, in terms of like 1 mana cards that can help you win a counter battle. I don't know if it's going to be good enough to actually see play in Eternal formats, where it has to compete with all those older cards, but it's nice to have the option. It's certainly better in some situations. You wish we just had Dispel? Yeah, maybe. Sorceries hit sweepers, though. The more aggressive you are, I think the more you care about sorceries. And the more controlling you are, the more you care about instants. Because then you're trying to win a counter battle. Worse than Spell Pierce? I don't know about that. I mean, you're not countering a Planeswalker with this, but the difference between 3 and 2 is pretty huge, right? Mistral Singer, 3 mana for a 2/2, flying prowess. Cool. Yeah, Flyers are always good, right? Flyers are always good. We got Opt here. People don't realize it, but if you just jam like a ton of opts into your limited deck, you're gonna have a good deck. You're just like always gonna find your best cards. I'm just gonna churn through. Very often I see opt going like way later than it should in draft. It's better than most of your shit. You shouldn't be first picking it, obviously. But you can play like an absurd number. And then, of course, if you've got like 4 or 5 opts in your limited deck, you can start trimming lands, of course, because it's helping you hit your land drops in the early game when you need it to. Pursued Whale. This one's got some nice flavor. 5 blue, creature whale. When it enters the battlefield, each opponent creates a 1/1 red pirate creature token. With this, creature can't block, and creatures you control attack each combat if able. And spells your opponents cast that target Pursued Whale cost 3 more to cast, and it's an 8/8. So amazing artwork there. This fantastic sea beast. Did you know that like the bird creature type, whales were actually created for Magic? Yeah, I thought they came from some like old myth or lore or something, but no. Magic created this one too. Kind of wild, the impact that Magic has had. You think it looks like the tongue of a xenomorph? Oh my. I can't unsee that now. It's like bursting out of someone's chest. In terms of limited bombs, this one seems really beatable, right? Like, it seems like it has a relevant ability that's worth spending 7 mana on, like forcing all your opponent's creatures to all attack into your new 8/8. It's pretty decent. It's gonna make it impossible to gang block, right? But if you're casting this on turn 7, the ability that your opponent's removal spells cost 3 more. They're probably going to be able to pay the 3 is what I'm getting at. They're probably fine. So it's beatable but relevant. It's like what a top end limited bomb should look like, I think. Reign of Revelation. This card's sweet. You can play a couple, draw all the cards, win all the games. Read the Tide, 6 mana, choose 1, draw 3, or return up to 2 target creatures to the owner's hands. I always like really value the versatility of cards like this until I play with it, and I'm like, oh no, this isn't quite good enough. 6 mana is so much mana. To the point where I would rather play a card like Reign of Revelation. Because you can get to it sooner, churn through your deck sooner, find a more relevant answer, right? A more timely answer than bouncing 2 things on turn 6.
Oh shit, what up?
So it's not an embarrassing card to play, but I'm not looking to play it. Beat Off Smalls, thanks to the sub, thanks for sharing that Prime. Rewind is interesting. In a format with Reclamation, with Wilderness Reclamation, I could actually see Rewind seeing play. There are flash decks that are operating almost entirely on the opponent's turn in this format. Those might actually want this card. Counter your spell, activate my 1-drop, draw a card. Counter your spell, play a 4/4, etc. Make a Cycle Shark, whatever you're doing. Riddle Form, 1 in a blue. This is another reprint. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you can have it become a 3/3 with flying, and then for 3 mana you can scry 1. Yeah, kind of a tempo-y card, huh? Doesn't fit very many archetypes, but it can also be very difficult for the opponent to deal with because it's not a typical creature. So if they're using sorcery speed removal, they might just die, you know. And then having the scry attached is kind of okay. So this is another one of those cards that's like pretty good in the archetype that can support it consistently. Super good in multiples, right? But But it's also gonna be niche, because like the archetypes that can't support it just don't want it at all. So usually you should be able to table it, I would imagine. Hey, Oglethorpe, thanks for the sub, thanks for 28 months. Roaming Ghostlet, 3 blue blue, 3/2. When it enters the battlefield, return up to 1 target non-spirit creature to its owner's hand, then it's got flying. This is a good mana war. You get the tempo boost of bouncing their thing, and then a 3/2 flyer. 5 mana for a 3/2 flyer would be like 1 mana too much. But getting an unsummon on top of it, getting the bounce effect on top of it, makes it better than a 4 mana 3/2 flyer would be. This is like the, it's kind of like putting like a 3 mana 3/2 flyer in your deck. That's like the value, the worth. It's good, it's a good card. You can play like a ton of these in your deck too. You can pick it early and like pick it often, right? Because you like bounce their best thing, and then they replay it, and then you bounce their best thing again, attack with your first one, they replay it, and you bounce, you know, you can just like play if turn 5+ you just like played one of these every turn, like you're probably gonna win, is what I'm getting at. Rookie mistake. Blue, until end of turn, target creature gets +0/+2, and another creature gets -2/-0. Interesting little trick. I suppose this is decent, because you can like win combat on 2 creatures. Usually I'd put this sort of trick in as like filler though, right? It's like my 23rd card, more likely to be my 24th or 25th card than my 23rd card. And then the more aggressive you are, the better it gets. But it's not even that aggressive of a trick, right? It's kind of a defensive trick. Rousing Reed, 2 and a blue, enchanted creature. When it enters the battlefield, draw 2 and discard a card, and then the creature gets +1/+1 as flying. Oh, that's fun. So you get a catalog on top of your +1/+1 and flying. I like this card a lot. I already like auras more than most people that aren't filthy casuals. And this one like gives you that value back. So even if the opponent kills your creature, assuming that they were tapped out when you played the read, right? Assuming that your spell resolved. If they kill the creature, you can still get some value. And there's some effects in this format where just like giving something flying, like that turn is going to give you value, right? And creatures with attack triggers. Like there's the when it attacks you, draw a card. It's a really nice card to put a Rousing Reed on, huh?
Oh shit, what up?
The art rules too. The art does rule. Yeah, no, I'm with you. Emperor Haplo, thanks for the sub, thanks for the 5 months. You're excited to draft this card? I'm also excited to draft this card. This is sweet, I love it. Sanctum of Calm Waters, 3 and a blue, legendary enchantment. Shrine! At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, you may draw X cards, where X is the number of shrines you control. If you do, discard a card. So the Haunted of Seeing Winds was the 5 mana. That was the best Haunted, right? You would draw a card for the number of shrines you controlled. So even if you just had Haunted of Seeing Winds, you had like a Phyrexian Arena that didn't cost life. It was just like worth it by itself. Sanctum of Calm Waters is not quite that good, obviously. But draw 1, discard 1 is still okay. And if you have a second shrine, this is all of a sudden becoming one of the better shrines. Draw 2, discard 1. That becomes really good. And then draw 3, discard 1. Scales really well. Also note that it says you may, so you're not going to deck yourself with this. If it didn't say you may, you would do that. If you built around shrines and you just drew X cards and discarded and it wasn't a may ability, you would absolutely deck yourself with this. But the may is pretty nice, and you can filter through, find the other shrines in your deck. It seems like a pretty important one if you're doing the multicolored shrine deck. See the Truth. Oh man, I'm glad we got to this one. This card is super fucking exciting, and I'll show you why. It's an Anticipate, but if you flash it back, it's a Sorcery Speed Anticipate, let me be clear. But if you flash it back, you draw 3. If you flash it back, it's Ancestral Recall all of a sudden. So Sorcery Speed Anticipate is pretty bad, but it's not that bad. It's not so bad that if it's sometimes a draw 3, it still wouldn't be playable, right? Yeah, this card's good. Jace Vryn's Prodigy, Snapcaster. Yeah. No, I expect that to happen. I expect that to not only happen. I expect it to see like a lot of play. For example, in like in Death Shadow in Modern is a sort of deck where I would like to see this card. Maybe that's not quite good enough. I mean, you're milling it some of the time with Thought Scour. I'm just thinking, like, if you Snapcast back a Kolaghan's Command, you're already getting a 2-for-1. So do you really need 3? I mean, 4 mana is a lot less than 5, though. Yeah, you might not play 4 See the Truth in, like, Grixis Death Shadow. But what about, like, 1 or 2, huh? Just to give your deck that punch. Give you that option. I think there's a lot of value there. You think Truth will destroy older formats? I don't think it's going to destroy older formats. There's still some setup required there, right? Still have to resolve your Snapcaster. 3 mana Chandra? Ooh. Oh my. Yeah, I was thinking about, like, pumping the 1-3, right? Was that Dreadhorde something? Arcanist or whatever. No, a copy's not a cast, Ortic. If you copy this spell, you're not getting the 3 cards. It has to be cast from somewhere other than their hand. Direfleet Daredevil? Oh my. The counter tech is showing up. Direfleet Daredevil sounds filthy. I'll be taking that. Dark Dwellers in Pioneer? Oh yeah. Yeah, it's kind of similar to Dark Dwellers in Ancestral Vision, right? Isn't that also right? You think we'll see 0 play in all formats? Oh man, I disagree. I disagree. 3 cards are too tempting. The Mutate Jeskai card, Vadrock. Oh, that's sweet. No, I don't think Modern Dredge wants this. Modern Dredge would have to find a way to cast it from the graveyard, right? They would see it in the graveyard consistently, but Dredge doesn't want to, like, put a card in their deck to actually be able to play this from the graveyard. Dredge doesn't want to play, like, Snapcaster or whatever, right? Yeah, no, I think this card will see play too. And it'll be fun seeing the different ways that it does see play. Underworld Breach. Oh my. Oh my. God, Breach will be able to combo off from fucking nothing, huh? Yeah, Cascade into it. Alright, moving on. Shacklegeist, 1 in a blue, 2/2, flying. Can only block creatures with flying. Tap to untap spirits you control. Tap target creature you don't control. I think this card's playable. I like that it gives your summoning sick spirits something to do. I like that you can actually, like, pseudo-answer a larger creature with it. I like that it costs 2 mana instead of Nibblegast's 3 mana. Nibblegast, like, pretty good in the Pioneer version of the deck already, but your 3 tends to get glutted. So I don't think you're playing 4 of this card, right? Because the ability, it's not like the ability is useful in multiples. But I do think the card is playable, like I said, and I think you can play like 1 or 2. People are saying Truth's going to get banned in old formats after 2 weeks. No. I think people that are saying See the Truth is going to see no play are underestimating the value of getting 3 cards. And people that are saying See the Truth is going to get banned in old formats like immediately are underestimating how difficult it is to, like, get it in the graveyard, how much work it is to get it in the graveyard and then bring it back. I could see the Truth getting banned eventually, but, like, fucking the Delve Draw 3 wasn't banned after 2 weeks, right? Didn't that one take a while? We'll take some Finicking with to find a shell that like truly breaks it. Or becomes dominant or whatever. If it does. And it might not. Cast twice, averages 2 for 1. Yeah, so does Thoughtcast. Thoughtcast also averages 2 for 1. Correct. Cruise didn't actually take work in formats with fetch lands and stuff, whereas See the Truth, you need something really specific to get those extra cards. Yeah, I agree. It is no Treasure Cruise. I was just comparing it for like, someone said it would be banned within 2 weeks. That didn't make any sense to me. Hey, Saloon42, thanks for the sub. And hello. Alright, Shipwrecked Dowser. 3 blue blue, 3/3 prowess. When it enters the battlefield, return an instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand. Oh, this is cool. Yeah, it's pretty common for them to give us some like 4-mana 1/2 that rebuys a spell. And sometimes that card's okay. So getting a new one that has like a relevant body, it's pretty juicy. I like having another way to rebuy Time Walks in EDH too, because I'm a bad person. Ten-ton hammer. Modern Spirits does not have room for Nebelgast, right? It does not have room for another 3-drop. But it does have room for Shacklegeist. It does have room for another 2-drop. Simply because of what's available. So like I said, I think Shacklegeist is playable when Nebelgast is not in that format. And I think you can fit 1 or 2 into Pioneer as well. Obviously, it doesn't stack well with multiples, but I already talked about that. The difference between 2 mana and 3 mana is pretty big. You're kind of downplaying it. You're saying that like it doesn't matter because you're hitting it off of Coco anyway. So like hitting a 3-drop is better than having a 2-drop or whatever. But it's not like you're only playing 3-drops in your deck, right? You're not playing 0 2-drops and 0 1-drops in your Pioneer Spirit stack or your Modern Spirit stack. Five mana prowess is kind of bad. 5 mana for a 3/3 with prowess is much better than 5 mana for a 2/2 that just rebought a spell. Because that's what we used to get. And that used to be totally fine. 5 mana 2/2, rebuy a removal spell. Talking about Shipwrecked Dowser again. 5 mana 2/2, rebuy a removal spell. Totally fine and limited. You get a 3/3 prowess. That is much better. Now you're attacking with your 4/4 when you replay your removal spell. It's good. This is a good card. You can draft Shipwrecked Dowser pretty highly. What does Shacklegeist tap down that you care about? Tarmogoyf, Death Shadow, fucking Wormcoil Engine. What do you mean, what does it tap down that you care about? What the shit? Burrow, yeah, right? Things that can race a spirit stack. Yeah, that fucking, what is it, a 5/7 with reach the ramp plays sometimes. Fuck that card. Yeah, World Breaker. Alright, Spine Megalodon, 5 blue blue, 5/7 hexproof. When it attacks, scry 1. Deece. If you're gonna put an obnoxious ability like Hexproof on a card, at least make it cost fucking 7 mana, huh? This card's gonna be so frustrating to lose to when you have a grip full of removal on like turn infinite. You're gonna be like so ahead. You're like attacking in the air with your 2/1 or whatever. Got a grip full of murders. Opponents like this. Just beats you. Obviously, you can only play so many expensive cards in your limited deck. So it's not like it's gonna be some limited bomb or whatever, but Hexproof's good. Hexproof's really good. Like the Dominaria Hexproof Turtle. Very similar to the Dominaria Hexproof Turtle. Some decks can get away with playing like very few win conditions if those win conditions have Hexproof on them. And that's really where Megalodon's going to shine. Stormwing Entity, 3 blue creature elemental. Costs 3 less to cast if you already cast an instant sorcery this turn. It's got flying, prowess. When it enters the battlefield, scry 2. Yeah, I saw people talking about this with like Manamorphose in Modern, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure about all that. Hey, Nucleosyn, thanks to the sub. Thanks to the 37 months. For one, a turn 2 3/3 isn't that good in Modern. That is a boltable turn 2 play. And then a lot of the times you're not going to have the Manamorphose, right? And now you've got this like 5 mana 3/3 in your hand. So then you're going to try and play it with a cantrip on turn 3. And so like you successfully made a 3/3 on 3. It's not good enough for Modern, right? It's not exciting. In what format is Stormwing Entity the truth? Well, it's certainly good enough in Limited, right? 5 mana for a 3/3 flyer with prowess that scries 2. It's totally fine in Limited. Opt into it? Yeah.
Oh shit, what up?
What about Pioneer? Just in like your opt shock deck? I guess I would ask Holy. I wouldn't ask me, I would ask Holy. But I don't think so. My intuition says no. Whisper me, thanks for the sub, thanks for the 9 months. Yeah, my intuition is that this card is not exciting in any format but Limited. So it'll be exciting to see if I'm wrong, huh? You feel the scry 2 makes it viable? I don't. Yeah, I just don't. Now, if this drew a card, oh man, that'd be slightly more interesting. Or if it drew 2 cards. If it drew 2 instead of scry 2, I'd be into that. Well, that'd be a Modern card right there. Alright, let's move on to Sublime Epiphany. 4 blue instant. Choose one or more. Counter target spell, counter target activated or triggered ability. Return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. Create a token that's a copy of target creature you control. Or target player draws a card. There's a lot going on here. You can like counter your opponent's thing, bounce a thing, get a clone, and draw a card. It's a lot. If you ever max value this, you're just feeling so good. It's like max valuing Casualties of War. It's so hard to lose after getting that much value. You think it's overrated? Do you think Casualties of War is overrated? The downside of Sublime Epiphany is that you do have to put creatures in your deck. You are going to want to have the ability to make tokens, especially value tokens, right? Tokens that give you value. Looks broken. Looks good. Gear Hulk it? Oh, I mean, Gear Hulking it in Cube is going to be a very satisfying thing to have happen. That's what I'm very excited about. I'm excited about this art. The art's fucking phenomenal. I might even get a print of this one. My walls are getting pretty fucking covered, and there's not much room left for prints. But I might still get a print of this one because I love the art so much. But yeah, Cube is where I'm very excited. I'm trying to talk about it in like standard and limited and stuff because that's where more people care about it. I do think it'll be good in standard, but oh my god, flash that back with a Gear Hulk, right? It goes infinite with Lutri or Dual Caster. Does it? You just keep on cloning Lutri. And then you deck the opponent. Does that work? It doesn't go infinite with Lutri. Okay. Oh, Lutri's on cast. Sure. But it works with the one red creature, because that one's comes to play trigger. Dual caster, yeah. Okay, it's not a cast trigger, but it has a if you cast clause. Yeah, I got you now. Works with Naru. Will Naru be in standard? Pioneer playable? Yeah, Naru's definitely in Pioneer. Combo with only 9 mana, but the creature can be in play is the thing, right? The creature can be in play, and then you cast this on turn 6, or like turn 5 with a ramp spell. Oh yeah, it's a phenomenal answer to Krasis too, countering the Krasis and the triggered ability, and giving you more value. 10 mana infinite combo. Yeah, it's a 10 mana infinite combo, but again, being able to split it up over several turns. Like, fucking Splinter Twin is a 7 mana combo, but you know, it's not like you have to wait until turn 7 to do it.
Oh shit, what up?
Oh, okay, sure. That spell has to be on the stack. Can't be in play. Is that true? Yeah, that must be true. No, you're right. I'm super wrong. Forget everything I said about the dual caster already being in play or whatever. Because this would have to be resolving then. If it's on one in play. To get the copy effect, and then the card's off the stack already. Yeah, no, you're right. That is a lot less exciting. Some 10 mana combo. Or 9 mana combo, or whatever it is. More fringe EDH then. God, does that make this scary in EDH? If you think your opponent has that copy, the copy 2/2, when you play a Sublime Epiphany, they can just like clone it and dead you. Dual caster. Dual casters only spells you control. Fair enough. Yeah, I don't know these copy spells well enough. I should really just shut up. Anyway, Sublime Epiphany, sweet card. Moving along. Teferi, Master of Time, 2 blue legendary planeswalker Teferi. You may activate loyalty abilities of Teferi on any player's turn, anytime you could play, or anytime you could cast an instant. +1, draw a card, then discard a card. -3, target creature you don't control phases out. And -10, take 2 extra turns after this one. So you uptick it on your turn to 4, and then you uptick it on their turn to 5. So it's kind of like it's going up 2 a turn. Like if it just had like a +2. Obviously, the more players there are, the better this gets. So it's going to be like a great EDH card. I don't think it's good enough for standard. But I'm not 100% on that. Because you loot on your turn and then you blink out. It's not blinking, right? It's phasing. Then you phase out one of their things. I wonder why they made it target creature you don't control instead of just target creature. Yeah, it doesn't... Well, it kind of protects itself with the phase. Yeah, it only has 3 loyalty, but you can plus it on your turn and then phase something out on their turn. I mean, I think you should be able to protect your own stuff from sweepers. That's what I'm saying. Like, I understand that them not having you be able to target your own things. Dodges removal, but I think that would make the card more interesting, right? Phase Yorio. Well, phasing Yorio doesn't do anything, right? You don't get comes into play abilities. It makes really good blockers when you can phase your own stuff on the opponent's turn. Yeah, but that wouldn't be busted. That would just make, like I said, it would just make the card interesting. Like right now. So it's not. So with Teferi, if you could, let's say that you could blink, like phase out your own stuff. You wouldn't be doing that every turn. You would do that like once, right? Look at the starting loyalty. Look at what you have to do to actually phase something out with it. You play it, you uptick it, and then you can minus on their turn. What happens if you phase Uro in response to its trigger? Oh, that's interesting, Lord of Depression. Now maybe that's the sort of thing that they were looking to stop. Uro would just like come back into play. Similar to the 1-mana 12/12 that people got into play with the phasing tricks. Yeah, good call. Teferi fills up the graveyard nice for Uro too. Yeah. I suppose to do that. Not as well as the cards that just like look at 5 cards. We have a few of those, but like Cavalier and whatnot. Yeah, overall I'm not excited about Teferi in Standard. But clearly a super exciting EDH card, right? Meanwhile, Sublime Epiphany I also think is an exciting EDH card, but I think it's exciting for Standard too. The Cavaliers are rotating, sure. Fair enough. It's a blessing that it's not obviously broken. Yes. Yeah, no, I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining about Teferi not being the most like busted Planeswalker of all time. And I like that it has that it's going to do something like really cool in EDH. Teferi's Ageless Insight, 2 blue, legendary enchantment. If you draw a card except the first one you draw, in each of your draw steps, draw 2 cards instead. Legendary enchantment. So usually draw spells are so good that it's hard to justify investing a card into something that like makes your draw spells better. It makes it seem like win more to me, unless you're like cantripping. I guess it is good with like actual Teferi Master of Time, huh? It is sweet with the Planeswalker, yeah. With Brainstorm? What, you're gonna try playing this in a Brainstorm format? No, there's no way. There's no way. Feels commander to you? Yeah, right. That's intuitive. It feels pretty commander-ish. Teferi's Protege, 3 mana for a 2/3, 2 mana, draw a card, discard a card. Sure, totally fine. Real solid filler, right? Loot through the deck, find your bomb cards. Happy playing 1 or 2 of these in pretty much any blue deck. Teferi's Tutelage, 2 and a blue enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card, discard a card. Whenever you draw a card, target player mills 2 cards. Oh my. So this is sweet, turning drawing spells into a win condition. Yeah, I'm gonna draft this card. I'm gonna murder some folks with this card. Tide Skimmer, 4 mana for a 2/3. Whenever you attack with 2 or more creatures with flying, draw a card. Sure, yeah, deal. Love it. This card's kind of nuts. You could even like draw the card the first turn it comes into play. Just like run away with the game. Almost too good for an Ophiomancer. You do need 2 at least. Solarian Kraken, 4 blue, 4/6. Whenever you draw a card, you may pay 1. When you do, you may tap or untap target creature. Oh man, I am super jealous of whoever got to spoil this card. I'm sure they are immensely attractive and intelligent. Anyway, Kraken's decent. You got 6 mana for a 4/6. You can tap down a blocker every turn. Naturally, then if you have a looter, you can like untap it over and over again to get more loots in, or you can like tap down your opponent's creatures on their turn. And then there was, of course, some nice combo potential. If you have creatures that tap to draw multiple cards, mana dorks that tap for multiple mana, you know, you do that sort of thing. Someone says, no, it was Caleb. Oh, they got to spoil the Kraken? Oh, okay, my bad. I thought it was someone that was smart and intelligent, but good looking. Silly me. Alright, Tome Anima. 3 and a blue, 3/3. Anima can't be blocked as long as you've drawn 2 more cards this turn. Oh, that's sweet. So you just need to play a cantrip or something, and then your 3/3 is unblockable. Another way to turn drawing cards into a win condition. I'm sensing a theme in blue here. Unsubstantiate, 2 mana, return target spell or creature to its owner's hand. That's fine. Slightly better than an unsummon or a boomerang would be in limited, because you can use it as like a battery man too. If you want to buy a turn and then playing a removal spell or something. And then every once in a while, Unsubstantiate sees standard play. Usually not a lot, and not something to be excited about. Vidalian Arcanist, another reprint. Taps for mana, but only for instants and sorceries. Card's totally fine. Waker of Waves, 5 blue, 7/7. Creatures your opponent control get -1/-0. And then for 2 mana, you can discard it to look at the top 2 cards of your library, put one of them in your hand, the other into your graveyard. I like this card a lot. I like the art a lot. I like the ability a lot. The fact that you can turn your 7/7 bomb into a sleight of hand. So early on in the game, you're about to miss land drops. One of the most frustrating things in Magic is when you're sitting there and you're like missing land drops, and you have all these fucking 7 mana cards in your hand, and you're just like discarding. You're just discarding your late game bombs. And this one just doesn't have that problem. It also means that you can play as many of this card as you want, right? You can just like fill a deck with Waker of the Waves. Play like 3 or 4 of these fucking things. And then if you draw it early, you just bin it for filtering. And then your deck just has this super late game where you just have these 7/7s. Very hard for the opponent to deal with because their threat density is going to be lower. Because their filter spells aren't also 7/7s. Just a limited card. I don't think you're going to play this in Constructed unless you're playing some combo deck that gains value out of having creatures specifically in the graveyard. And then this would be a creature that bins itself and also gives you value. There's some kind of like weird reanimator thing where this becomes worthwhile, but not off the top of my head. Bit better than cycling? Oh yeah, I mean, same reason sleight of hand's better than cycling, right? Living End? You want to see this in Living End? Yeah, maybe we'll see play in Living End. Like modern. That would make sense, right? Because it helps you find your Cascader at the same time. Requires blue mana. Yeah, there's blue versions of Living End, because there's a lot of blue cyclers right now. The 4/4s, for example, and then the Cycle Stifle is really good in the blue Living End deck. Yeah, it's kind of a thing. Wall of Runes, 1 mana 04, comes into play Scry 1. I like this reprint. I like walls in my super slow control decks. I like having something early on, and this one having a little bit of filtering is nice. Wisconsin Crab! This is another one just to have around. I really like all of the reprints in this format. It's just like going to be a good limited format. I can feel it.